All right, we are live. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, and welcome back to the Law Entrance YouTube channel and to another session of the Hindu analysis. Today is 2nd of December. We're getting closer to the CLAT exam, and I hope everyone's preparation is going right on track and in full swing. If you guys need any help in any aspect of your preparation, be it strategy, concept, or anything which I can help with, feel free to shoot a email. Would be more than happy to help. With that, let's start today's discussion. Do we have any people on the stream? Can I get some responses if you guys have joined us in the chat box? Let's see if we have some responses. Okay, let's look at today's agenda. Seems like most of the students are busy with their preparations, which is all right. We'll anyway start our discussion. आज लग रहा है वन वे ही होगा हमारा डिस्कशन बट कोई चक्कर नहीं है. We gotta do what we gotta do. Siddhi is here. Good evening, Siddhi. Welcome to the stream. चलो ठीक है, आज के टॉपिक्स में तीन टॉपिक्स हैं जो हम डिटेल में डिस्कस करेंगे. फर्स्ट वन इज regarding digital arrest. Second is regarding cess on tobacco products. All of both of these topics are on the first page of the newspaper today. Third one is heart resilient urban planning. This is an editorial article which we'll discuss. Apart from this, couple of other editorials which we'll discuss on the newspaper, and of course, three new vocabulary words like always. So, with that, let's begin today's discussion by going to the newspaper for the day. Let's go. Just give me a moment to present the newspaper. All right. I hope the newspaper is visible to everyone on the screen now. Let's see what all do we have. Supreme Court gives CBI free hand to stop digital arrest scams. What is digital arrest? Basically, this is a new type of scam which has come up where people, scamsters rather, pose as either judicial officers or police officers, and they video call people saying that you have been arrested over video call for XYZ reasons. And gullible people, usually either uneducated people or senior citizens who are not aware that no such things like digital arrest is possible, they fall into this trap and they usually hand over some money or some important security details to these scamsters, which they take advantage of. And because these scams are growing exponentially, Supreme Court has now taken suo moto action on this and has asked the CBI to stop these scams. It says every type of scam defrauding victims, especially senior citizens, needs to be investigated. The court directly orders CBI and overrides state consent to conduct probe, and that is an extraordinary step because usually CBI को state की consent चाहिए होती है to take actions, but now they can override the state consent. So yeah, this is a tough action. Three categories of cyber scams have been identified by the Supreme Court. First one are digital arrest. Victims are made to believe government authorities are entitled to their hard-earned money and they are subjected to coercive acts of extortion. Second up is investment scams. Victims are lured by attractive investment schemes to deposit large amounts of money but eventually are duped The fraudsters continue to coin different terminologies to dupe victims. In some cases, the money is sought in the name of advance tax. And the last one is part-time jobs. Victims are paid for free tasks like positive reviews or watching YouTube. They are later made to pay huge amounts for premium tasks, and when you pay up that amount, the scamster vanishes away. ओके कूल ठीक है सो इसकी करेंगे थोड़ी सी हम और डिटेल में बात on the PPT right hand side पे let's see what do we have. Smartphone makers told to pre-install Sanchar Sarthi, however you pronounce this, although this is Sanchar Sarthi only, which is basically an application जो government ने बनाई है, and they have asked all the mobile manufacturers to preload this application in all the smartphones from March 2026. Mandatory बना दिया है इसका pre-installation, and these guidelines have come from the Department of Telecommunication. And manufacturers must also ensure that the app's key features cannot be turned off or restricted by the user or by the company. मतलब डिसेबल नहीं कर सकते आप इस ऐप को. इसका पर्पस क्या है? द पर्पस इज टू improve मोबाइल सिक्योरिटी एंड reduce frauds. This app would basically be used to check whether the phone's IMEI number is authentic or not. अब क्या होता है IMEI number? This is a unique ID which is provided for every mobile device, and it's still unclear whether the app will automatically access the IMEI या फिर the users would have to enter it manually. So we'll get to see that. But the features for users would be that this app would have some safety tools जिससे आप scams को report कर पाओगे, spam calls को report कर पाओगे. You would be able to see all the SIM cards which are linked to your name or your Aadhaar card, and you would also be able to block or disable your phone remotely if it gets lost or stolen. So government is basically trying to reduce mobile related frauds, phone thefts, misuse of SIM cards, and that is why they're trying to make this installation mandatory for every user. Although अभी जो मोबाइल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनीज हैं उन्होंने अग्री नहीं किया है इस चीज़ पे. स्पेशली एप्पल ने काफ़ी इस पे वो एक्सप्रेस किया है विरोध, because they say that this goes against the privacy of the users and their policies, etc., etc. So we'll see what happens. One way or the other उनको comply तो करना पड़ ही जाएगा. We'll see how it goes. On the right hand side, you see ED issues notice to Kerala CM Pinarayi Vijayan in KIIFB Masala Bond Pro. What is KIIFB? This is Kerala Infrastructure Investment Fund Board. अब क्या है यहाँ पे कॉन्टेक्स्ट थोड़ा सा समझते हैं आसान भाषा में. बेसिकली ईडी ने शो कॉज नोटिस भेजा है इनको, केरला के सीएम को, केरला के फॉर्मर फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर को और KIIFB के CEO KM अब्राहम को. क्यों भेजा है शो कॉज नोटिस? बिकॉज दे आर एक्यूज्ड ऑफ वायलेटिंग द फेमा एक्ट. फेमा क्या होता है? फेमा इज द फॉरेन एक्सचेंज मैनेजमेंट एक्ट, जिससे फॉरेन एक्सचेंज, फॉरेन करेंसी का आदान प्रदान होता है हमारे देश में. दैट इज व्हाट दिस लॉ रेगुलेट्स. बेसिकली हैंडलिंग ऑफ मनी, इंटरनेशनल मनी, एक्सचेंज ऑफ मनी. एंड इन पे जो एक्यूजेशन लगा है वो ये है कि दे हैव वायलेटेड द फेमा एक्ट थ्रू देयर हैंडलिंग ऑफ मनी रेज थ्रू मसाला बॉन्ड्स. नाउ व्हाट आर मसाला बॉन्ड्स? मसाला बॉन्ड्स आर, आसान भाषा में आप समझो तो एक तरीके से इन्वेस्टमेंट इंस्ट्रूमेंट आप कह सकते हो, जिसमें बॉन्ड्स इशू करे जाते हैं इन द फॉरेन मार्केट्स, एंड दीज हेल्प इंडियन कंपनीज टू रेज मनी फ्रॉम फॉरेन पीपल, फॉरेन कंपनीज, विदाउट एक्सपोजिंग देम टू द रिस्क ऑफ फॉरेन एक्सचेंज. एंड इसको जो है रेगुलेट करती है गवर्नमेंट. रूपी डिनोमिनेटेड बॉन्ड्स हैं इसलिए इसका नाम मसाला बॉन्ड्स है, बिकॉज इंडिया इज नोन फॉर इट्स मसालाज. एंड ये जो है यहाँ पे जो कॉन्टेक्स्ट है वो ये है कि ईडी का एलिगेशन है, ईडी इज एनफोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट, कि ये जो कंपनी है, कंपनी भी नहीं बोलेंगे, बोर्ड है जो KIIFB, इन्होंने फंड्स रेज किए वाया दीज मसाला बॉन्ड्स ऑन द लंदन एंड सिंगापुर स्टॉक एक्सचेंज, एंड दे हैव रेज्ड अप्रॉक्सिमेटली 2600 crores, and out of this almost 466 crores were used to buy land, which ED says is not allowed under FEMA rules and RBI guidelines for such foreign raised फंड्स. आप उसको लैंड परचेज के लिए यूज नहीं कर सकते हो. अब ये KIIFB है क्या? दिस इज बेसिकली अ स्टेट लेवल फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन, एंड बिकॉज इसमें बहुत बड़ा अमाउंट ऑफ मनी इन्वॉल्व है, सो तो ED एंड अदर एजेंसीज आर बिहाइंड दिस, एंड बिकॉज इसमें चीफ मिनिस्टर और फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर का इन्वॉल्वमेंट है, उस वजह से ये इशू थोड़ा सा सेंसिटिव भी बन जाता है। ठीक है, आगे चलते हैं हम लोग। सेंटर मूव्स बिल फॉर पान मसाला सेस एंड हायर ड्यूटीज ऑन टोबैको प्रोडक्ट्स। क्या होता है सेस? इट्स बेसिकली अ टाइप ऑफ टैक्स। विल डू दिस ऑन द पीपीटी, विल सी व्हाट एग्जैक्टली दिस इज। IIP in October slips to a 14-month low. What is IIP? Index of Industrial Production. Basically ट्रैक करता है कि कितनी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग और प्रोडक्शन हो रहा है हमारी कंट्री में। So that has slipped, which is not a good news to be honest. City based news we can skip. State based news में क्या है? वेस्ट बंगाल SIR, बीजेपी डिमांड्स ऑडिट ऑफ 1.25 करोड़ एंट्रीज मेड इन 3 days. ओके, ठीक है, नथिंग इम्पोर्टेंट है। Maharashtra all set for first phase of local body elections. Okay. ठीक है, nothing important here. Okay, nothing important here as well. By important, I mean important from the CLAT exams perspective. Okay, let's look at the editorial section for the day. The first editorial of the day is the new action plan on AMR needs a shot in the arm. What is AMR? AMR stands for antimicrobial resistance. And क्या बातें हो रही हैं यहाँ पे? This was basically referring to the National Action Plan on Antimicrobial Resistance. And why is this a concern? This was because this AMR is now no longer limited to just hospitals. These resistant germs, these resistant bacteria, and antibiotic residues, they also spread through soil, water, farms, food systems, aquaculture, waste systems, livestock, etc. And because of this, AMR is a one health issue, which means human health, animal health, and environment. All of these are connected. अब हमारा जो पहला AMR प्लान था 2017 का, that raised national awareness about AMR, and it also improved our lab networks and surveillance. It also encouraged cooperation across various sectors, but state level पे implementation काफी ज़्यादा weak था. And क्यों weak था? Because most of these systems are controlled by the states, not by the centers, and without these state level structures being proper, national guidance अच्छे से implement नहीं हो पाई. अब बात करते हैं हम AMR 2.0 की, which is from 2025 to 2029. यहाँ पे जो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन है वो और ज़्यादा प्रैक्टिकल है, टाइमलाइंस क्लियर हैं, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज और रिसोर्स प्लानिंग प्रॉपरली हो रही है, एंड फोकस इज बीइंग मेड ऑन innovation, on protecting the environment and food systems, on private sector involvement, which provides a lot of healthcare in India. And they're trying to strengthen the surveillance across these different sectors by establishing national level oversight also through the Niti Aayog. And they've basically asked all the states to create a state AMR cell as well as state action plans. But अभी भी कुछ इसमें कमियां हैं. What are the weaknesses? Weaknesses are that there is no mechanisms to force the states to act. There's no mandatory requirement for states. There's no formal center state review platform. There's no financial incentive for the states, which is quite critical because major AMR related activities happen with state control. सो रियल इम्पैक्ट के लिए इंडिया को एक प्रॉपर सेंटर स्टेट AMR काउंसिल की ज़रूरत है, एंड प्रॉपर मैंडेटरी स्टेट एक्शन प्लान्स की ज़रूरत है, फंडिंग की ज़रूरत है, विच मोटिवेट्स द स्टेट्स टू मेक दिस अ सक्सेसफुल मैकेनिज्म. दैट इज व्हाट दिस आर्टिकल टेल्स अस. Paper is saying having issues with analytical reasoning. What to do on 7th? Are we going to have an analysis of the paper? Yes, detailed analysis of the paper would happen on 7th, the exam day itself. एग्जाम के जस्ट बाद आपका एनालिसिस स्टार्ट हो जाएगा. सो या स्टे ट्यून्ड टू द सेशन. रिगार्डिंग एनालिटिकल रीजनिंग, व्हाट यू कैन डू इज आइडेंटिफाई द इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स. आपका अरेंजमेंट हो गया, पजल्स हो गया, नंबर सीरीज, कैलेंडर एंड क्लॉक्स, ब्लड रिलेशंस, डायरेक्शंस. आइडेंटिफाई द टॉप मोस्ट 7-8 टॉपिक्स एंड उनको अच्छे से आप एक बार प्रैक्टिस करो. यूट्यूब पे ट्यूटोरियल्स बहुत सारे हैं, जिससे समझ आए उससे देख लो, एंड प्रैक्टिस अ फ्यू बेसिक क्वेश्चंस, ताकि अगर बेसिक से क्वेश्चंस आए तो एटलीस्ट आप वो तो सॉल्व कर पाओ. प्रैक्टिस इज द की, एंड अभी 4-5 दिन है आपके पास, हो जाएगा, इट्स मैनेजेबल इफ यू ट्राई टू डू इट. ठीक है, चलो. लेफ्ट हैंड साइड पे सी वी सी cautious optimism. India's challenge is to maintain the growth momentum. This basically talks about GDP growth. Stat based article है, आप चाहो तो पढ़ सकते हो. Next is the need for heart resilient urban planning. This will do on the PPT. Left hand side पे you see war clouds. Whatever Maduro's failings, the US must step back from its Venezuela plans. Basically talks about Donald Trump and his remark on Venezuela's airspace, which should be considered closed. It's closed in its entirety, and it has raised fears that the Republican peacemaker president Donald Trump may be preparing to attack the South American nations. Over the past few weeks, US has intensified pressure on Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro by conducting strikes in Caribbean and Pacific waters against alleged drug traffickers and bolstering its troop presence in the region. So this basically tells about the conflict between US and Venezuela. All right. Capturing urban dynamism in the 2027 census. We all know that the census has been announced and 2027 में होना है, उसके बाद delimitation वगैरह होगा. What does this article tell us? This article basically tells us कि हमारा जो plan है 2027 के census का, that is being done keeping in mind the urban transition. Urban transition मतलब people moving from rural areas to urban areas. And ये वाला census बहुत important होने वाला है because this is going to be the world's largest administrative data collection exercise. And it's foundational for a lot of things. Policy making being one of them, welfare schemes being one of them, allocation of funds being one of them. And इसमें this time we'll have mobile apps for digital data collection. We'll also have geotagging of buildings. We'll also have real-time monitoring systems. Basically mechanisms to improve accuracy and efficiency. And India का जो current definition है urban का, वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा outdated हो चुका है. ये article हमें बताता है. इंडिया की जो definition of urban है, that is very conservative. It's based on population size, based on population density, based on economic activity, and this binary urban versus rural classification sort of ignores the semi-urban areas, village and settlements, which are rapidly becoming urban. Peri-urban कह लो या semi-urban कह लो. And then the article talks about the hidden urbanization, where World Bank studies are showing that 53.3% of India lives in areas with urban-like characteristics. लेकिन 2011 का जो हमारा last census था, that only counts 31% of population as urban, which shows that a lot of urban growth is unrecognized, which again leads to poor planning, misallocation of resources, delayed development of infrastructure. So this article suggests us that हमें recognize करना पड़ेगा इन semi-urban areas को. They talk about the UN's degree of urbanization method, जो classify करता है areas को as urban, peri-urban and rural. तो 2027 का जो सेंसस है उसको भी इस टाइप का ही कुछ रोड मैप अडॉप्ट करना चाहिए, ताकि हम अटेंशन दे पाए हमारे पेरी अर्बन एरियाज को, एंड वी आर एबल टू डेवलप द बेसिक सर्विसेज, वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट, ट्रांसपोर्ट एंड ग्रोथ इन दोज एरियाज. दे गिव अस द एग्जांपल ऑफ दिल्ली and how the real extent of urbanism in Delhi is miscalculated. UN projections place Delhi among the 5 largest mega cities globally. And हमारा जो दिल्ली का urban footprint है, that also includes Gurgaon, Faridabad, Noida, Ghaziabad, which is spread across different states. And they say that recognizing such true agglomerations is important for developing housing, jobs, environment management, etc. etc. तो इस बार जो हमारी अप्रोच होने वाली है वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा ओपन एक्सेस अप्रोच होगी, वेयर वी वुड यूज मैप्स, विजुअल डैशबोर्ड्स, स्पेशियल लेयर्स, etc. etc. to identify such areas. एंड फिर इन्होंने कुछ ग्लोबल एग्जांपल्स दिए हैं और यही बताया कि ये सेंसस बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है हमारे पॉलिसी मेकर्स के लिए, रिसर्चर्स के लिए, स्टार्टअप्स के लिए, सिविल सोसाइटी के लिए. एंड वी वुड यूज एग्जिस्टिंग प्लेटफॉर्म्स लाइक गति शक्ति, डिजिटल पिन, नेशनल जियोस्पेशियल पॉलिसी, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा टू मेक दिस सेंसस सक्सेसफुल. Alright, what else do we have? Why does India need bioremediation? This you can skip. Can India become self-reliant in REE production? ये हम डिस्कस कर चुके हैं. रेयर अर्थ परमानेंट मैग्नेट. Jayashankar says bioterrorism is a serious threat. The world is not ready for it. Kushag is saying आज मैथ का सेशन अटेंड करके मजा आ गया. Special thanks to Shashank sir. चलो that's great. Sambhav is saying I need help in preparing for 2027 as I have no steady plan made by now. करेंगे हम एक दो strategy sessions जल्दी arrange करने वाले 2027 students के लिए. Just stay tuned to the channel. Kushag is saying tomorrow there will be only questions or concept revise as well. दोनों दोनों दोनों. क्वेश्चन भी करेंगे कंसेप्ट भी करेंगे सब कुछ करेंगे कल बहुत लंबी मैराथन है 6 घंटे की बहुत टाइम है हमारे पास सब चीज करने के लिए ठीक है Peep is saying I have mainly problem on arrangement the circular table one seeing it on sample paper makes it very probable to come तो उसकी प्रैक्टिस कर लो the more you practice the better you get at it और कोई उसका सॉल्यूशन नहीं है Armed forces procure additional Huron MK2 UAV. UAV are unmanned aerial vehicles, basically drone आसान भाषा में ये हमने और ज़्यादा प्रोक्योर कर लिए कहाँ से प्रोक्योर किए हैं इजराइल से प्रोक्योर किए हैं ठीक है All right, let's see what else is important. Lok Sabha passes Manipur GST bill amid disruptions over SIR. The bill replacing an ordinance which implemented reforms in GST in Manipur. Statutory resolution moved by Revolutionary Socialist Party member N.K. Premchandran. Disapproving the bill was rejected by a voice note. Radhakrishnan urged to be impartial as he chairs first Rajya Sabha session. Parliament is a place for delivery, not drama, says Prime Minister. संचार सारथी ऐप must be pre-installed on phone, says Department of Telecommunication. ये हमने already discuss कर लिया. Parts of India may get more cold wave days this year, says IMD. Supreme Court says farmers cannot be made scapegoats for air pollution in Delhi. ठीक है. Sheikh Hasina, her British lawmaker niece found guilty in Bangladesh graft case. The Dhaka court hands 5 years in jail for the former PM and 2 years for her niece for alleged corruption involving a government-led project. The Awami League party calls the ruling predictable. Terms the anti-corruption watchdog a political mechanism. Trump confirms call with Maduro. Venezuela slams US preparations for attack. Sri Lanka mein death toll has climbed to 390 because of cyclone Detwa. PM Modi calls Sri Lankan president to offer support with relief. Kohli puts an end to debate over place in the ODI setup. India जीत गई थी मैच ना पहला वाला साउथ अफ्रीका के साथ. All right. That's all we have for today's newspaper. Let's come back to our PPT and complete our discussion. 21st Wind says, sir, एक doubt था. Some sources say that the Article 217 governs the removal of High Court judges, while others say it's Article 218. What should we mark if both the options are given? ये तो आप डायरेक्टली भी गूगल पे चेक कर सकते हो. चलो अभी चेक कर लेते हैं. Article 218 of Indian Constitution, removal of Supreme Court judges which apply to High Court as well. Okay, Article 217 check कर लेते हैं. Article 217 is for appointment of High Court judges. So simply the article which we'll mark as the right answer would be 218. ठीक है? 217 is for appointment, 218 is for removal. As simple as that. ये तो आप चेक कर सकते थे गूगल करके. चलो ठीक है. Sorted? Okay, let's start. Digital arrest is the first article which we are discussing. Let's see. The Supreme Court on Monday tasked the CBI with cracking down on digital arrest scammers and their associates, giving the agency a free hand to launch an anti-corruption probe into bankers involved in opening of mule accounts linked to cyber crimes. A bench of Chief Justice and Justice Bakchi found enough was enough and held that digital arrest scams required the immediate attention of CBI. A note provided by the center in the court showed that 3,000 crore had already been scanned by fraudsters from victims, mostly drawn from elderly population through digital arrest. Bihar, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala, West Bengal, MP, Uttarakhand, Rajasthan, Punjab, Maharashtra, Meghalaya, Jharkhand, and Tripura have been directed to accord consent to the CBI under Section 6 of Delhi Special Police Establishment Act to investigate digital arrest cases under the IT Act in their jurisdiction. Digital arrest refers to an online scam where cyber criminals impersonate law enforcement officials like CBI, police, or ED and falsely accuse victims of involvement in criminal activities. They use phone calls or video calls to extort money by claiming that the victim is under investigation and keeping them under constant surveillance until demands are met. The Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center, which was set up by the Home Affairs Ministry, addresses cyber crimes and facilitates collab between financial institutions, telecom providers, and payment aggregators to mitigate cyber frauds. The development of mechanisms to block spoofed calls is being done with telecom service providers, where Summon via portal platform provides a joint management information system which provides insights on interstate linkages of cybercrime. And the National Cybercrime Reporting Portal launched under I4C enables the public to report cybercrime incidents. The next one is the bill for pan masala cess and higher duties for tobacco products. The Union government introduced a bill in the parliament seeking to raise the excise duty on tobacco products and another legislation targeting the manufacture of pan masala. Our finance minister tabled the two bills, the Health Security, National Security Cess Bill and the Central Excise Amendment Bill amid opposition sloganeering. The bills are aimed at replacing the revenue from GST compensation cess on tobacco products, which will be discontinued soon. The Health Security, National Security cess also proposes to augment funding for health and national security through levy of cess on machines installed and other processes undertaken in manufacturing of pan masala. Cess क्या होता है? Cess is a form of tax that is levied for a specific purpose. It is a tax on tax imposed in addition to an existing tax like the excise or income tax, and the revenue is earmarked for a particular use. Cesses are typically charged for a specific time period or until the government has gathered enough funds for the purpose. 80th Amendment formally amended Article 270 explicitly excluding cess and surcharge from the divisible pool. मतलब इसका revenue is not shared with states. Cess are recognized in the Constitution Article 277 and 270. Education cess is an example, Swachh Bharat cess is an example, fuel cess is an example. Surcharge क्या होता है? Surcharge is an additional tax imposed on existing duties or taxes. It is also a tax on tax and discussed in Article 270 and 271. But surcharges are often applied to individuals, companies, and other taxpayers who fall within certain income brackets. Rate of surcharge can also vary based on income level. They are designed to be progressive, ensuring that high earners contribute more, promoting social equality and addressing income disparity. Surcharge increases the total tax liability of individuals who are already subject to tax, particularly high income earners of certain sectors. Funds collected from surcharge go into government's general fund and can be used for a variety of purposes like financing infra projects, social welfare, and other government activities. 13th and 14th Finance Commission upheld exclusion of surcharge from the divisible pool, which means ये भी state के साथ share नहीं होता. And the last article is regarding heart resilient urban planning. So 8th October को मनाया जाता है World Habitat Day, and the theme was urban solutions to crisis. The event spotlighted programs like PM Awas Yojana Urban and Smart Cities Mission. Yet below these are visible challenges of pollution, heat, and inequity, which is a quiet emergency, and a surge in heart disease and diabetes. Cardiovascular ailments are a main reason now for urban deaths, with prevalence rate nearly twice that of rural India, and witnessing more patients under the age of 50 years. Daily life in urban India, long commutes, polluted air, shrinking green spaces, and rising stress has resulted in rising health risk. Access to care remains limited even as cities promise opportunity. Yet few have addressed this crisis through deliberate evidence-based plans. Distribution of healthcare still follows profit, not need. Hospital clusters where land values and paying populations are high, while vast areas remain underserved. Market logic, not medical necessity, continues to decide who receives care and who does not. First, walkability and active mobility is what we look at, which promotes movement and lowers the risk of hypertension and diabetes. Second is green infrastructure, making tree covers, parks, and urban forest. Third is mixed land use, combining residential, commercial, and recreational areas. Fourth is public transport system, जिससे clean energy transit हो पाए. And last is healthy food ecosystem, local markets, community gardens, shifting the diets to heart-friendly choices. And they basically tell us how urban health risks are still invisible but deadly. PM 2.5 triggers heart attacks and strokes, while concrete heavy layout trap heart. Heat, heightening cardiovascular stress. Poor water and waste management system also worsen metabolic disorders. Asia could see a 91% rise in cardiovascular mortality by 2050. Holistic planning offers practical remedies. जो हमने अभी डिस्कस करी डिजिटल इनोवेशन हार्ट हीट मैपिंग टूल्स embedding systems with urban planning frameworks, equity to anchor urban health strategy, low income communities को protect करना and India state level disease burden reports को follow करना. That brings us to the end of our discussion. Let's look at the vocab for the day. The first word is berserk, which means out of control with anger or excitement. Synonyms are mad, crazy, or insane. Antonyms are calm, sensible, wise. The dog went berserk when a wasp stung him. The next word is nihilistic. Nihilistic मतलब होता है rejecting all religious and moral principles in the belief that life is meaningless. Hopeless, discouraging, unpromising are synonyms. Hopeful, cheerful, and cheery are antonyms. Her latest plays a nihilistic vision of the world of the future. The last word is dunce. Dunce मतलब होता है बेवकूफ. A person who is slow at learning. A stupid person. Fool, idiot, stupid. Antonyms are brainy genius. Intellect, it's impolite to call others a dunce. Baby saying, what was the cutoff mark you predicted last year? It was exactly what the cutoff was. मुझे number तो नहीं याद है, but I remember that my cutoff was accurate to the T. Not even a plus minus one deviation. It was bang on accurate. I also attempted the paper. मतलब I went to the center, gave the exam last year. इस साल I am not giving the exam. So I don't know. इस साल मैं उतनी confidently तो cutoff नहीं predict करने वाला हूँ जितना last year किया था. But I'll try to predict the cutoff as close as I can based on the inputs I receive and the paper I see. So, yeah, let's hope for another accurate prediction. Was it the cutoff for any NLU? मैंने फर्स्ट लिस्ट के जो कट ऑफ थे वो प्रेडिक्ट किए थे कि आपको टॉप 3 कितने पे मिलेगा, आपको टॉप 5 कितने पे मिलेगा, टॉप 10 कितने पे मिलेगा. These were the 3 predictions I made, and all 3 of them were very close to the accurate ones. What was my rank last year? I don't remember honestly. 600-700 में थी कुछ. I don't exactly remember the rank यार. मैंने रैंक के लिए तो नहीं दिया था पेपर and I did not really attempt the quant section properly because why would I? ठीक है. So that's not relevant. What's important is you guys focus on your preparation and give your best attempt. बाकी all the best. I hope revision is going on track. चलो, I'll see you all tomorrow in a marathon session. कल का हिंदू एनालिसिस सलिक सर लेंगे because I would be engaged in the marathon from 2 to 8. It's a 6-hour marathon. So come prepared. I'll see you all at 2 p.m. tomorrow. I should be in stock exchange. Maybe someday. Never say never. All right. Menti nahi hai aaj. No Menti today. Menti now will start next year, most likely, once we have enough students on the stream. Chalo, that's all for the day, guys. Thank you so much. Tada, bye bye. See you all tomorrow at 2 p.m.